Oh, peace, peace, peace. Yeah, it's me again. Nah, I'm just kidding. Well, that sun is beaming, but you gotta get that vitamin D, is what they call it. Give honor to source. Give gratitude to all. I know y'all feeling all these things out there. I know y'all feeling it. Y'all feeling it. I know y'all feeling it. And it's like the best thing, you know, man, if anything, I can start this off with like, y'all good? I know y'all good. If y'all not good, it's gonna be all right. Cause I'm gonna share some stuff with y'all just because, like, you know, it's a lot happening right now. There's a lot of energy fluctuating right now. The sun, I'm kind of like in the shade, but I want to like get the sun. But anywho, there's a lot of stuff coming up and out, you know, in these moments that are, it's, how could I say it? I feel like the main focus internally, and that will be coming out for a lot of people, is centered around, as I've spoken about in previous videos, is mental health. A lot of us are going through a lot of shifts, experiencing a lot of transitions, experiencing just so many things within ourselves that we're trying to make sense of when nobody else makes sense of. So I got my notes here. I got a lot of stuff, man. It's important. You're having a lot of thoughts. I would express to people that are going through a lot of things here internally. Grab you a journal, man. Dollar Tree, somewhere, wherever you go. I don't care if it's loose leaf paper hanging around. Grab you something that will, that you can write out whatever you're experiencing. Because sometimes even trying to express it to the world can be very challenging. I shared with someone the other day is that it within myself, and I feel like a lot of this healing journey in itself, within itself, coming to acceptance of how much delusion, confusion we've lived in, and how much we're unlearning, processing, so much of unprocessing, or, you know, purging out repressed emotions. There's so many things that everyone, you know, may not know how to do these things, and a lot of which, this is why I realized a lot of my childhood things were to bring me back to the now. And it takes a lot of courage to even make these videos. Don't ever think that this shit is like sweet, like real sweet. You don't know what I go through outside of, you know, these videos. No one really knows, and I don't even expect people to care. But it takes a lot of courage to really, we're learning to really embrace who we thought we were, or assumed to the world, or portrayed to the world. But now it's like we're now being faced with ourselves. We're now having to focus more on ourselves more than ever. And so even in that, it can be a great, a not so pretty thing on this journey for a lot of people. I mentioned before how, you know, I was saying to someone, expressing to them like how we can see the trend. What did I say to them? I was like saying how there was a time where the being fake was a new real. Now trying to be real is a new fake. And I heard it in the song, if I could recall the sister's name, but it's wild. It's like, what is really real now when everyone, you can see now, it's like a trend. Like everybody's trying to be the self or portray. But it's not even about that when you really know, when you really done the inner work and you know yourself to have really faced certain things, a lot of which you'll be able to have a lot of compassion for those that aren't really, it's not that, we're all at different levels for a reason. And I've been writing out so many things to where, like I said, it's certain things I don't verbalize. It's certain things you don't see outside of what is being portrayed to you on the video. It's certain things even I write out. And it's like, it can seem like, it's like, yo, it's like a mad scientist and a freaking like fucking like genius. But it's really what's happening is that awakening will happen in a way to where you're actually reconnecting to the divine. You know, it's wild because I was like, yo, you be surprised when I'm sitting here like, yo, those thoughts were not mine. What do you mean? Meaning, in essence, like, certain people have these patterns. You don't realize spiritual warfare is like spiritual attacks, entity attacks, you know, a lot of things that have been trying their best to keep one from walking into their divine purpose or their divine right, or reclaim their divine truth, their divine essence, you know. And a part of what we're here to do is that, you know, reclaiming our power, going through and, you know, clearing the karma. And this is why you're going to see a lot of stuff that we are creating when you hear people quote or say the new world, or you're talking about an old way that's dying out. So you're talking about a new way, a new age of art, a new age of music, a new age of everything that's unfamiliar. So you're gonna going through this, it's gonna seem like, yes, your mom and whomever else and people are gonna say, oh, you're crazy, or you this, you that, because awareness on, first of all, you're being, it's like, imagine, and I gotta paint this stuff because a lot of stuff, for instance, because I love this, here we go, right here. For instance, check this out. See, the more I realize that as I'm evolving and choosing to do the inner work and heal upon my journey, I'm realizing how that is allowing me to receive what some may call the light codes, or more awareness on what it is I'm here to do. For those of you that don't know, I could even go all the way back to when I was like in elementary school. And I don't know if I told this story on here. I would be like, you know, kindergarten or whatever you want to call it, and I'll be like, hey, let me, you know how everybody, they get everybody to draw the same thing. And I'm like, okay, you know, I specifically remember drawing a frog. You know, everybody got a frog. But my frog was like realistic, more realistic, or just stood out among, amongst the whole class. But I'm sitting here like, I'm looking like, and this is me. See, this is the thing about what so much we're realizing now, how many mental blocks, how much spiritual warfare, how many, you know, how much delusion and spell work and a lot of stuff that humanity individually that followed you, that has been thrown at you in the unseen, in the spirit. So now, you know, being when I was young, I would look at my frog and be like, well, what y'all see? Because I don't see. But that was the divine, the spirit already telling me the gift that I already have. The gift that, something that I know when I really channel back to my childhood, that really I felt made me free from the world, made me feel free in, you know, what connected me back to my inner essence, my inner child. So that part of me was never, how could I say this, was that part of me Okay, that was interesting. I never heard a plane fly that low before. That plane literally was so low, like literally, like right over the freaking like tree. So let me get back to where I was going, because I didn't know where the fuck that was coming from. I had to look up, and as soon as I looked up, this shit went right over. So if y'all do know, when you do hear this video, that is going to be something very loud in it. But anywho, bringing back to where I was, a lot of which I realized that connected me to the divine and who I was simply always within me. It's like a lot of us have been, you've always known who you were since you came here. It's so much that has been covered up that we've been masking. Entity attachments, things that, has clouded our judgment, mental magic, so many things that had kept us from really coming, really focus more externally, our upbringings. Because see, one thing about even when I was learning in those classes, I really never cared about, anything else but art. And this is just my truth, my divine truth. When I was in class, the only thing I really cared about was creating. And a part of your journey, and if you want to title it Awakening a Spiritual Journey, has a lot and will have a lot to do with a lot of things have been so dormant, upon your path that you haven't even recognized. Or now you're coming to realize how much has been laid dormant and how much has been, pushed aside to even now to try to portray to this world that, something that, again, trying to create something that, it's not even in reality, it's not even you. It never was you. And see, through the wounding, it's like through the wounding of and what you see here, through the wounding, childhood wounding, and what we experience, I myself, even in my upbringing, being in an abusive home, I wanted so much to just escape from the world. So my peace I found wasn't so much just going to school, but a lot of that mental fuckery, and a lot of that, I tell somebody, I was like, I grew up in a mental unstable home. Or, you're talking about people who never really knew the essence of really loving themselves. So in a part of that, I saw a lot of stuff early. I'm talking about like fighting with the neighbor, when we growing up, my experiences with like seeing fights, physical fighting between your mother and the father, the boyfriend she had, getting spankings, whoopings, ass whoopings, somebody call it, and just hearing so much of verbal abuse. And you don't realize we're soaking this all in. And at this point now, it's like, all of that, as you're soaking it in, you're becoming these things. You're eating, you're receiving this consciously through your eyes or portals, through your ears. For those of you that, oh, you're not this, and just the real verbal abuse, to where, again, you're hearing these things, you're seeing these things play out. And as a little being of light, or as that little boy or girl, you absorbing these things, you're taking it all in. So then you're carrying this to your schools and to wherever you're going at the time, which again doesn't teach us about really loving ourselves. It's also teaching us about devaluing. It doesn't teach us the value of who we are. It's not teaching us that we're number one in those schools. It's not, it's teaching those things are, it's about first place, second place, third place. Well, we're all in this grand scheme of things, who's really winning right now? It's an equal playing field as it always been, because everyone here is to experience karma. So when I was younger, I would just basically use that anger and rage that I received, when I got whoopings and a lot of stuff that I received being bullied when I was young. Also, I carry that pain and that rage to the schools. And the best thing I knew was to create something from that. And so in creating that, that was the best outlet I knew how, what to do and how to be. I didn't care about nothing else. And I know I'm not the only one. I didn't care about nothing else but to express myself in what reminded me of love, or what connected me to the essence of who I've always been. And that's the same with you. You are and still have been and are now, through your awakening and through what, the shadow work, the inner work that you're doing, you're reconnecting to that imagination, that powerful being that you've always been. And whether it be music, art, writings, all those things. And what I learned upon my path is that how I knew that my upbringing and living that karma out, carrying those things, I carry that rage, that pain, that anger into relationships, seeing that distorted way of what a man and woman should be, both patriarchal and matriarchal, and carry that into the future of, with my future self, believing, carrying that identity, carrying that, if you take the ID off, as entities, carrying those entities that my mother and her boyfriend or whomever else were fighting with, and that energy being passed on to me. See, that's the sponge, that's the spiritual warfare. And so you're carrying these things into, your future, or into, the present moment, to where, sometimes we don't even realize the mental illness now that we're recognizing it. Because as you see the little boy that's crying here, and you see the muscles of the man, it's like, be strong no matter what you are, no matter who you are. Oh, just be strong. You got this. Carry it on your back. In all of that, in its entirety, it's like wearing my heart on my sleeve, not caring to actually protect it or see it as something like, oh, I should, carrying that grief, that pain that I experienced, and then wearing it on my sleeve as if like, it's okay to simply lash out and project these things. And so as you see the Band-Aids, it's like you're seeing the wounds that are healing and that are still healing, even as a man. And it's not so much just a man, the little boy is still there, because in the mind or in the heart, it's still healing. And the beauty of it all, what I'll get to, is so much of like how even through the wounds that, there's still growth mentally. Through the wounding, there's still growth. And that's a spiritual growth. Sunflower, dandelions they go through different stages. They go through, I believe it's like 3 stages they start at, and then, the things that you can blow. And then also, I actually have some right here. Watch this. Bro, my videos will be good, so. And it's a beautiful, because I can add this in here. And I'm going to respectfully get the flower, because, I do honor that. Okay, bam. If those that you didn't know, that this right here, you have it's like preparing, and they're longer for those of you that don't know. It goes through 3 different stages. I didn't even know this until like, I believe this is said, and you can research this, to be like the moon aspect, and this represents the sun. And this is, how it begins. And then it's also research. You can also research the a lot of sisters that share this with me, gratitude to them, is the properties of, I just want to do this for the little kid in me, but the properties of that, how it helps with a lot of, something I believe is connected to either the sacral or something that helps the blood. So you can research this about dandelions, but what I do know, and what I researched, is that I know it has its different stages. And I know this represents the sun that illuminates, and then that round aspect of it is representing the moon. So I just want to share that with y'all. So as I was, getting into this, is that you can see like the dandelions because of the mental health. And this like is a representation of like not only me, but like what I also battle with, because you're talking about now we're at places where we're 30, 40, 50, whatever age. It really don't even matter. You're thinking we're the only one going through mental, things. And in actuality, kids are also battling their own spiritual warfare. And realizing how important my healing is. And it's like this says so much in just everything, because even to have the capacity now to not only embrace and heal, but it's like loving all of those versions of me, going back to that 5 and 6-year-old me, and actually acknowledging my role and also the role of others allows me to now accept, because all those emotions comes up when you're on that journey. Me now trying to have a talk with the 5-year-old me that did not want to go home sometimes, because I just knew that it was, it's like walking on eggshells. Like, do I really want to be there? And so a lot of us now realizing like we want to escape from the world. And that's how a lot of trying to escape through drugs, trying to escape through sex, trying to, being that those that were affected by, victimized by rape or victimized by sexual molestation, so many other things. And not only to mention verbal abuse. That was also one thing, because I'm learning now the importance of breathing and listening, because the verbal abuse, you feeling so small, it'll have you feeling so small in your life. I'll put the picture right here. It'll have you feeling so small, and like, like if you're worthy, in this whole experience now. And a lot of us now are trying to regain that, trying to reclaim that innocence, that crown of glory. We're trying to reclaim that part of us that, age 4 or 5, we're trying to make sense of it, process it, but also trying to retrieve it, reclaim it. And to even process that, not only through your tears, but at the age that you are now, and I always tell people that delusion of what is really adulthood when you're still the child, when you're still trying to heal, when you're still trying to find your fucking self in a world where you feel like an outcast, where you've been outcasted, where, I realize, now the healing is so vital, because I'm sitting here like, those that do have kids and will have kids, it's so much that I know and believe that there's a thing that happens spiritually and cosmically for those that are connected, and for those that are elected and selected to actually be the driving and changing force for generational curse breaking, because you will realize that your connection to yourself also is connected to the child and to that mother. Their responsibility in, now I'm learning now to be responsible for my own emotions. Because we've been learning to be responsible for everyone else but ourselves. And so people will be like, that's very selfish of you to really, focus on yourself. Why not? That's the aspect that I forgot about so long that I'm now trying to recover. And you're pissed off and you're upset at me because now I want to be secluded, so, secluded, be in solitude. More like you be you're, it's not so much of getting, because that can be one thing that can be very addictive in a way. Addictions can be many things. You're talking about TV, you're talking about external things, people, foods. It ain't just drugs, y'all. It ain't just social media. You can be addicted to the simplest things, but it's so much of just 20%, okay? But it's just so much of just trying to vicariously live ourselves out through something that's really unfulfillment. That's what I feel like what a lot of addictions can lead to, a lot of detriment or self-destruction. But I'm grateful for my own what led to self-destruction, because that leading me to the darkness, I emerged as the light. And so getting to about what this is like I'm able to doing the inner work. When you do the inner work and the shadow work, you'll come into the connection with self. You'll reconnect with that aspect of the aspect of I was writing about this, and I'll probably do another video because I know it's just flowing right now. That aspect of yourself that you wanted to hate, that aspect of yourself that, it's very challenging for us to try to find forgiveness, not only for ourselves, because we're taught so much to just forgive everyone else, accept what everyone else did, like treat others like you wanted to be treated. But what about don't treat others how you don't want to be treated? So it's like now what the awakening is about, it'll force you to see yourself. It'll force you to see yourself that you hated so much. It'll force you to see the self that you refuse to accept. And that aspect and that version of yourself is that of, and this is very, I'm gonna say this for me, is that person that touched you, like touched me, and this can be very touching for people. And if you cannot handle certain things, what I'm about to say, I would just advise, just do what's best for you, what you're led to do. But also it's like I had to come to that conclusion or accept and embrace, go back to the little me and reach, out for him and be like, hey, it's okay. And that little essence of me was awaiting for me to love it. The whole time it's been waiting for me to embrace it. That aspect of me that I didn't want to accept, then in accepting that is how I'm being led to create this. That's what makes us limitless. It's not only to create this, but to write it, but to create content. And and not being concerned about how the world is going to view me. None of that, because we all have shit we're going through. We all have things that we're trying to maneuver through, make sense of, get clarity of. We're all experiencing something, even the raven or crow, whatever that is. But even in that process, it's me having to go back and love this part of me, man, that I wanted to hate so much, because I was trying to find this in other people. Rather than trying to verbalize it, I was trying to find this part of me. And in that healing me, I had to acknowledge the old versions of me that I was trying to mask, that I was trying to cover up with abandonment issues, with delusion, with the confusion of my own sexuality, my sensuality, all these things that make me who I am, have me questioning what it is I'm here to do. And so in that awakening, you will realize you're awakening and you're waking up to the reality of What is my identity? Who am I? Who am I without, this name, this title, this status, this career? Who am I? What am I? What am I here to do? How can I inspire? And so now I'm coming to the realization within myself is that I'm still becoming. I am still evolving. Because I'm still healing. Because I'm still accepting the parts of me that I know that no one externally really cares to accept. That's an internal job. That's a calling that has chosen me, and more so me really choosing the calling. It's me accepting, not caring how the world is gonna view me. It's about how I view myself beautifully as the stages that I showed you of that dandelion. The stages and how we go through levels of becoming and blossoming to who we are. And now are learning now to feel safe in a world because what? I have to feel secure enough to even verbalize and say the shit that you're afraid to say. Not concerning about what the backlash gonna be. Why should I care? Because deep inside of me, I had to accept the versions of me that no one else was going to accept and acknowledge that. So you come to join me? Okay. And come to the awareness that the world, it's not about if they care. I gotta care more for me. I gotta love me more. I gotta express. I gotta accept. I was telling someone, I gotta accept those versions of me, and then to be able to flaunt that and express to where an insecure person who hasn't accepted and embraced their darkness or the versions that they don't want to, that they're still hiding from. I have to, accept in my own birthright and who I am to be able to share that unapologetically. To share that with, not caring how anyone views me. Because my truth may not look like your truth. But in all essence, it's what I do know, what connects us is pain. And what I do know, what also connects us is love. So in all of that, again, is that you're seeing what an artist, and I express this to people, it's like what an artist can do is that an artist, what makes us so amazing is that we don't have to verbalize anything. We just simply can express it. But I'm realizing how I am limitless. Like, I have to use all my gifts. And it's going back to, like, I knew myself to be verbally abused, but I also realized that this is coming from someone who was also hurting. So now I realize that, now no one can really run from themselves. So that now they have to face themselves. And so that's what happens also on your awakening, your journey, is that when you're walking into your destiny, into your purpose, the divine, the source, the creator will remove all that is not in alignment with what you're coming into. And into is yourself. And so you can outwardly express that, unapologetically, authentically, and knowing that you're secure in whatever you express. So of course you're gonna be confident. Again, that confidence is knowing that I know who I am and I'm still becoming. So you got thousands of millions of people, of course, mom and dad, of course they got this image. Everyone's gonna hold that image in your head. Some people haven't even accepted and forgiven themselves for what it is you've done, what they felt to you, or what happened in that circumstances. So in that, do you wait around? Does that stop you from still loving you, acknowledging your part? And if you're called to seek that for, forgiveness or, whatever it is to do, if it's on your heart, so be it. But that still shouldn't stop you from living out what it is you're here to do. So most people aren't going to accept and get what it is consciously where you are, because a lot of stuff, as you see here, this is advanced. A lot of people aren't at this level, but that doesn't mean they're not coming into it. Late bloomer. Those of you that don't feel like you just, oh, the world doesn't see me. And that's a feeling, again, on that journey. You will feel very alone. But I always remind people, you're going to become one with self, and then you'll realize how everyone, in a way, is a reflection of that. That energy is carried out. You'll be able to see the unevolved, unhealed versions. That doesn't make sense to a lot of people. And it's not supposed to. That's how everything is divinely orchestrated. In that moment, it would all make sense. So inspire to continue to push out what it is you're doing, purge it. And in that becoming that, you're not only healing your past versions of yourself ancestrally, what your ancestors knew that it was you, that they were giving gifts to, knew that it was going to be you to face that darkness that, that has been in your DNA, only for you to illuminate that, only for you to be balanced in that, only for you to become whole within yourself. Seeing past just it being about money, material things. All those things will come. All those things are already provided. So in the beauty of all of that is that, again, it's very challenging trying to go back to that little self, that little Terrence, or that little me, that part of my soul that, I was like, what? You're still here? I gotta face you now? I thought I got past that. That's what healing is, yo. You're thinking you're past some shit or something, and all of a sudden, this person or this reappears, or the universe will put something on you, but you feel something, you're like, oh, I thought I got. No, it's more than that. It's so much deeper than that. This is like the emotional aspect of you, the body, the physical, the spiritual, the soul. It's so much that, again, not only are we decluttering, purging out, spring cleaning before we illuminate in the summer and the solstice, and it's so much more to where a lot of us are now realizing that, listen here, you've always been 20 steps ahead. That doesn't mean that you're above or below anyone. Self-reflect on your path and reflect, and you will realize how much you really have faced and honored who you are, that people are afraid of. They're afraid of themselves. This is why they vicariously live through the illusion or delusion of power, when in actuality, this trying to portray to the world that they're strong is really masking themselves as being really weak, to trying to prey on those that are innocent. And in reality, the innocence has already been within you that you're trying to reclaim through whatever. And in the divine and your ancestors and spirit guides are trying to reveal to you what it is that very thing that you fear. Again, going through those stages where I was verbally abused, and now using my voice to activate, to heal, to spread a message. Why should I care whom is for? It's for. The rest will fly. Bye-bye. But in essence of all of that is more so, again, I know what really connects us. That's the oneness in a lot of things. That's one thing that can connect us as humanity or people is pain, and the other one is love. So we know what the problem is. So what is the solution? It's very obvious. So in loving yourself, you'll be able to pour back into self, to be able to recharge, to be able, and this is a part of loving thyself, knowing thyself. I try every day, if I find, to even create something, to find ways to alchemize that energy or use that energy, what I've been going through. Now, how could I inspire not only myself, and it's different for everyone. Everyone's journey is different. Because you may be called to do this, you may be called to do that. It's in coming to know that. That's what your awakening can be like. Is you having that courage in speaking your divine truth. No matter how anything externally views you. So what? So what? Everyone is not able to have that courage because they choose to keep hiding in the darkness. It takes a lot of courage for someone who possesses a light to go into the dark and really see what it is. And when I tell you, it's your gifts that's lying there. It's your truth. It's your authentic self that is there, that inner essence, that inner child that is there awaiting your arrival. That's calling, that's been calling out to you. So, and the beauty of all of this is that there's aspects of yourself, and in that shadow work is really your shadow self, and really it is your fears, or in essence is your gifts. The things that we've avoided so long because we've been trying to be something, live out, these expectations, these standards, this distorted way for others rather than ourselves, rather really for the divine. So the choice is yours. And so I share this message with you today is that it's beauty to see even my own growth. Self-reflect at where you are now. Doesn't matter your age. And self-reflect to where you are now. A lot of us are in reflective mode. A lot of people, again, be patient with self. A lot of people are going into things. A lot of people are coming out. So most importantly, I would say be patient with self. Take moments to yourself, whether it can be 30 minutes to an hour. Remember that it's a journey, and a journey looks different for everyone. And that's what makes us all unique. Most importantly, look at the youth right now. A lot of us are in these places where we're healing so much of our own abandonment, but it's also a part of healing these issues, healing these breaking these generational chains and curses, so that our youth, so that the ones that comes after us, that represent not only the future, as we clean up our past and clear our karma, is to clear their future. We're paving the way so that our future Starseeds children can live in a world where they feel secure within their emotions, within their, their spirit, their essence, and to be able to express it freely, and to be able to be who they are and who they came here to be. Fuck the judgment of the world. Who cares? No one's higher than the all-seeing. So judge who? Just remember that, again, it's about realizing that where your darkness is where your light lies. See, your darkness has been dormant. Ask yourself, what's keeping you from those versions of yourself? Those versions of people that inflicted pain upon you. What's keeping you from forgiving them? And that in that essence of accepting that, you will realize how much it frees you, and freeing them, and coming into who you are. That will never stop, because you're still evolving. You're still becoming. Peace and blessings. Shalom.